Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, say this is the morning podcast with Jacob and Ethan.
This is hell. I did a few, and then it was just like I was in the flow of doing it,
Yeah.
and then obviously I ended up having to leave the country, and it was like around that time period, my whole afternoon was filled with looking at the visa documents, looking at what I need to be doing for once I get the visa documents, then I need the trade license, and my head was just full of that shit, and then it was like, oh, I have to leave. And I had like 2 days to leave, so it was like, right, okay, sort all this stuff out, go. Then I came back, and then it was just like, I think I just lost motivation for it. And then yesterday I was just talking to my mate on Skype, and he was like, oh yeah, we said we'd do one, so we just started recording it.
Okay. What's the name of it?
The Sober podcast.
The sober. Oh, you're all
Yeah.
going sober.
Yeah.
You all going? What was it? What made you go sober? Jordan Peterson, or what was it?
Good question.
You felt like your life was shit, and just like I can. The one thing I know I can do is cut out alcohol. Like if I do this, I know my life will be better.
So I'd say so. First off, it's very normal culture in England where you'd have like 3 pints in a pub, and then
Every day after work, right?
I never got to a stage where it was every day after work, but let's say Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was
Yeah.
drinking like 10 pints
Yeah.
sometimes. But what would also happen, say if you go out, you'd have 3 pints, and then people get cocaine. So you'd have like, we say the 3 pint barrier. You have three pints, and then next minute you start getting a bag of cocaine. And it's like, I did that for a while. And it was like, it just got, it was, at the start, it was like, oh wow, this is interesting. And it just kept getting like worse and worse. And then it got to, I had a fucking heavy Christmas in like 2018. It was like, there was so much going on. I was out all the time, doing loads of coke, doing a lot of drinking, and I decided to do like dry January. I felt fucking amazing after it. And then I drank on my mate's 21st, so this was 2.5 years ago. And it was like, oh, I've started drinking again. What's it going to feel like? And I decided that, I was like, well, I'm not going to do coke anymore. It's probably a good decision to make. I'm not going to be doing that anymore, so let's see what happens. I felt better from doing that. And then I started doing travelling, where I was the money that I wasn't spending on coke was going to something else. So it was once I found something to replace that, it then became inevitable to stop drinking. I also took magic mushrooms with one of my mates, and I turned to him mid-trip and was just like, why do we even drink? I was like, I don't even like doing it. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, I don't even like doing it. And then we were both just laughing about it. I didn't stop straight after that.
Yeah.
It just kind of opened up that thought. And then I remember the last time I drank, the first time I stopped, was I woke up on the kitchen floor, and it was a night out in Wigan, and I spent like £150, and I thought,
Oh Jesus.
I'd just been to Berlin, and I was like, I've been to Berlin for less than that, so why the fuck am I blowing money on alcohol and
Right.
doing this stupid shit? So, I was finding the replacement. Then it was, well, I'm going to travel now. My money went to that. So then I just lost interest in drinking.
No, it's you definitely save money. I was not smoking anymore. There's money I saved that I realize I've saved, right? Because
Yeah.
I don't have $50 a week. I'm using not pounds. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is in pounds, but that's not disappearing. It's
Yeah.
not straight off the bat gone. No, I can respect it. For a while, I quit drinking, or for a while, I essentially quit drinking because I got super healthy for a while. Like I had a 4-pack, but I don't know. Like my life got really boring. I mean, you obviously have found ways to socialize and be engaging socially without drinking, but I noticed that because it was back when I was in the States in Kansas City, so there wasn't like the way I went out and socialized was to go to the bars, And so, like, without having that, I just didn't have a way to socialize. I didn't know how to.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually it was like, I'm just staying inside every weekend. Like, I just go to work and I come back home and I stay inside all weekend. Or I go shoot I go shoot baskets. I go for a drive. I do things, but none of it is social.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it was a weird thing where, like, it's kind of the thing with smoking where I feel like my health has gotten better and my mental health has gotten better, but my quality of life has gone down as a result of the decision.
Okay.
Like, and I could tell that my quality of life had gone down as the result of my decision to quit drinking.
Okay. Is that, when you say smoking, is it cigarettes or
Cigarettes,
weed?
yeah. I've never been a heavy weed user. I mean, I will partake from time to time. Yeah, it was like my quality of life went down. It was a weird period. So I just started, like, yeah, and now I'm flabby. now I got some flab.
You're cushiony.
I'm cushiony, yeah. I got to make it through the winter here. But I will say, this is one thing I've noticed drinking here in the Czech Republic, 'cause drink all the fucking time, right?
Yeah.
Is if I can't drink more than 3 times a week. Maybe not even that, 2 times. Because I notice if I drink 2 nights in a row or I drink every other night, like not even a lot, just having a beer, I start getting depressed.
Yeah.
Like it's almost a 1-to-1 correlation. The quantity / like frequency with which I drink directly impacts my level of depression.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. So I stopped drinking for about 1 year and 8 months, and then before I came to Prague, I went camping with my mates, and then like we were taking the stuff out of the bag, and it was just a cold beer, like an IPA there, and I was like, it was like hot now, it feels good that.
Yeah.
And I'd recently, over the past few weeks at that time period, I was like, oh, maybe I can start drinking again. Maybe I've took it, I went too serious, and I was like, I cut everything out here, I could start doing it again. So I started drinking again, and it was just a few pints here and there. Then I came here, same again. I had one night where I got fucking smashed, but I noticed from having that time off, I could tell the difference in my mood. Like the days after I'd been drinking, I was more depressed. I'd see things in a negative way, and then it came to a point where Christina actually stopped drinking before I did. So she stopped drinking, and then we were on a night out in Vienna because we met this guy called, I don't know, I'll say Carlos. I can't remember his name. We met him in a hostel. It was very random. He was like, "Oh, do you want to go out for food with me?" We're like, okay. And then he was drinking. I was drinking with him, and my girlfriend wasn't drinking. And we were stood in this shit club, and it was just like I couldn't even hear a thing anyone was saying. And I looked at my girlfriend. I was just fucking being a dick and dancing, and you could tell she was just having a bad time. And I remembered that's what I used to feel like.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, and then I give this guy, I just give him my drink. I was like, mate, I'm going home. And that was the last time I drank, which was in end of July.
Well, that was sweet of you. Did she appreciate it?
Yeah, well, she was like, oh, I want to go home. And I was like, yeah, I understand exactly.
Or did she appreciate how difficult it is to just be like, I'm giving up on the night out because I can tell you're not having fun?
Yeah, I think it was just because I used to go out with my mates.
Yeah.
So I where you said before, like you stopped drinking and you didn't become, so you lost your social life, so to say. I felt that a little too, but I wanted to prove to myself that I could still go out and have fun without drinking. So I'd be driving my mates to clubs, and I'd be out till like 6 a.m. Like we'd finish up, they'd be fucked up, and I'd be like, right, I'll drive home because I was sober, and it was fucking awful. The nights out, you just feel so awkward because you wasn't drunk, everyone else was drunk, and it was just I need to prove to myself that I can go out without drinking. So I didn't lose my social life, but now I couldn't do that now. I just like the requirement to go to a bar or a club is gone.
Well, bars are very boring places if you are not drinking. That is one thing I have realized. Like European clubs, there's some clubs that are fun, but for the most part, European clubs are not fun if you're not high on something. And bars are very terrible places if you are not drinking. Like, it's fascinating because if you go to a bar and you don't drink and you're like, what? People are just sitting on stools and like staring straight forward. And if you go to a club and you're not taking something, you're just like, people are just standing and they're turning left and right and their feet aren't even moving and they're slightly bobbing their head. And like, why is this considered fun? I think one part for drinking is like, I could go out and not drink if I could flirt with people, but it's like, you don't feel good as a sober guy flirting with someone who's been drinking. That makes sense. Yeah. You definitely feel like pretty scummy.
Yeah.
And also like it can't go anywhere that night because then like you're definitely just a huge dick if you hook up with a drunk girl.
Yeah. So this was the first time I'd met my girlfriend. She was drinking that first night. She actually offered me, I can't remember the name of the shot. It's like a Czech shot
Shilovice?
With a cherry in.
Becherovka.
Maybe it's that. Maybe it's that.
Some weird combination of consonants.
It doesn't roll off my tongue like. But so we were sat there in Papa Cafe Petal, and she offered me a shot, and then I said, "No, I don't want one, because I don't drink." But my mate took up the offer because he did, and then the day after, like I thought, oh, this girl's attractive, but at first I thought, oh, she's just gonna.
This is when you met her. Like, this is back. Yeah.
This was last August. And then I had the same thing. Because when I'd go out, I'd never, like, flirt with a girl when I would be sober. It'd always be after a few drinks. Yeah. So I had the exact same thing. It was like all this fucking anxiety coming up again.
Dude.
Yeah.
Look, adults go for bars on first drinks. Like, what the fuck was I trying to say? Adults, what the fuck was that?
That's
sentence?
Good England, that.
Yeah. Adults go to bars for first dates or blind dates, not because like, oh, we're adults and we like bars. It's because as an adult, going on a first date is fucking anxiety provoking. Yeah. Like, you're saying you had anxiety talking to her sober. I'm telling you, you finish your thought, then I'll go.
I just get anxiety from, so if a girl showed interest in me, I was like, what's going on here? Like, why? Because I'd like to be quite reserved. When I was drinking, I wasn't, though. I'd be like, yeah, let's get going. But I realised once I was sober, it was like, I was kind of like being by myself a little bit. And Christina showed interest into me. But at first, I thought she was just interested in my mate because them two were drinking. The day after, my mate was messaging her on Instagram. I didn't have any social media at the time. So she was talking to him through that. And then when she arrived at her apartment for drinks, she was like, oh, I'm not drinking tonight. So I was like, hang on a minute, what's she trying to do here? That's what's going on here. And then, as you said, it's like if you hook up with somebody who's drunk, then you're like, oh, I can't. That was always my issue on a night out. It was like, I couldn't pull somebody, as you would say, or like, if I found a girl attractive, it'd always be, you'd wait until they'd be sober. So she had a shot, and it was like she had another shot, and I was like, oh no, okay. But I still didn't think she had any interest in me, other than the statement she said where she wasn't drinking. And then I was sat here, my mate was to the right of me, Christina was to the right of me, and my mate was next to her, and then he tried to kiss her, and she was like, no, I'm actually interested in you, mate. I was like, what? I was like, that's not been clear to me at all. I thought I was going to be left with like Christina's mate at one point, but then after she was like, no, I'm interested in you, I was like, oh shit. So I had to like fucking go calm myself down in the bathroom. that sounds like I had a wank in the bathroom. That's not what I meant.
No, you do what you have to do.
I was like, oh shit, because it was like, what am I supposed to do here? So I just kind of, because I'd seen that she was drinking. Yeah. And it was, I think she had 4 shots. But I was like, I'm not taking any chances. So I kept just delaying kissing her. I was like, I'm not going to do that while you're drunk. And then it was like right at the end of the night. You know. Yeah.
So that is how you met your girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's how you and your girlfriend got started. Your now current girlfriend, as of the time of this recording.
Yes.
Yeah. Whether it will survive until the time of its releasing.
I hope so.
No, the point I was trying to make is, okay, so when you're like, because you're what, 22, 23? 23. Is when you're like 17, I would say 23 is the last year it was for me, is that sometimes things start this way. like you're at a party or you know some people and you're drinking or somebody says they're interested and you start making out, which does happen sometimes at my age. It does happen, but that very quickly becomes no longer at all the way that relationships start.
Yeah.
It's you meet somebody and you agree to meet up some other time, or you use an app, or you both go to the same event. But for whatever reason, like, and maybe it's a me thing, maybe it's not all adults, but first dates when I was like 20, 21, 22, 23, no anxiety. It's like, whatever, I'll just go out, I'll meet up with somebody, we'll get coffee, and we'll talk, and like it'll be a good time. Like I'll just have fun talking to somebody, and whatever, you know, if it's good, it's. But the older I've gotten, and I think it's common, is the more anxiety first dates provoke.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not even like anxiety of like performance anxiety. Like, oh, well, if I hook up and I'm sober, it's like. It's just literally sitting across from someone you don't know. You have to make conversation, and they're just judging you.
Yeah.
And it's like, because when you're like 20, you're not really a person yet. You know, you're like kind of a person. But when you're like 25, like you're like even when you're your age, right? But especially like when you start, the older you get, you're fully formed. So if someone doesn't like you, it's like, oh, like it's a judgment on you. So that's why adults drink on dates.
Yeah.
Dating
definitely.
sucks. Dating sucks when you get old.
Yeah. Even I'd say it at my age, it's still fucking shit. Like,
You'd say dating at your age is shit.
well,
Oh God, you're still drafted in the second round there, mate. You got
well,
you kind of, the first round has gone by, like because you know football in the States, right? We have like the NFL. Oh, I'm using analogies that have no
that's
fucking
gone
use for
straight over
you.
my head. Yeah.
So anyway, we have like the NFL, you know, like American football, and you draft players. Like you get a pick, and you can pick people who come out of university.
Right. Okay.
And so the first round is like where all the people who are like going to be the next superstars go.
Yeah.
And like, okay, the second round is like most of them aren't going to be superstars, but maybe one or two are going to be excellent.
Yeah.
So I'd say your part, the first round is maybe over. Like the first round is good, but you're still drafted in the second round. You know,
I'd say the whole idea of going on a date with someone is still anxiety provoking, no matter the age. So around about the same time, I'd met my girlfriend. There was a girl at my work who was like, "Okay, I'll use some football reference in here for you." So
Okay.
Champions League level,
okay.
ridiculously good looking, fucking unbelievably fit, as we would say.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck. I started watching a lot of Bill Burr, and he was saying like he became that single. He just started to think like something's on my mind. Oh fuck it, I'll just say it. And I just started to go. I was like, oh fuck it, I'll just say it. And then I really fucking liked this girl, and I was like, oh, I wanted to just take her on a hike or something. And we'd like, I'm
sorry. Maybe it's different in the UK, but I can't imagine going up to a girl and like, "You're so beautiful. I just want to take you on a hike." She's like, "What? Like, you want to take me out to the woods and murder me? Like, what?"
Well, so it was funny because she would so she had like Instagram and all this shit, and she was very like, go on, I'll have some coffee. I don't know where I've put the mug. So I was talking to one of my mates about it, and he'd always show me like her Instagram stories, and like she'd recently split with a boyfriend. A few mates like, go on, just ask her, like go ask her, and she put a fucking story on of her in a helicopter. And I was like, what's this here? My mate told me someone took her on a fucking date in a helicopter.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was like, oh, I can't fucking compete with that.
Yeah.
It's just impossible. And then I think she ended up getting with him. On her birthday, he bought her a fucking Range Rover.
Wait, how long have they been together?
I think they probably got together September, October, maybe.
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
If like a girl is letting a guy who she's only been dating 3 months buy her a Range Rover, that's not a girl you want to date. That's a girl maybe you want to fuck, but that's not a girl you want to date.
Yeah.
Because she's only in it for something.
Well, me and my mate at work would always be joking around saying like, she doesn't want this life. She wants a canal boat life.
Yeah.
Because have you ever seen them in England? We have the canals, and you just have people live in these small canal boats.
Oh no! Wait,
So-
what is this?
So there's I don't know how many miles of canals there are in England, but it was
Yeah.
at one point it was the main port of transportation of goods between cities, and you just have people who live in these canal boats off grid. So I'd always
And this is a wealthy thing. This is not like a poor people
no,
thing.
no, people you can get a
Yeah.
canal boat for people. People do it in London to avoid the ridiculous cost for apartments.
So your life is a canal boat life, because I thought you said she wants a canal boat life.
Well, so what me,
Okay.
I would always joke with my mates saying, "Oh, it's fucking shit this job. I just want to go live in a canal boat."
Oh, okay. Because like a canal, she can go fucking like hide away from all the troubles of life.
Yeah, so I was like,
Okay.
she doesn't want this Range Rover. She wants a canal boat on fucking Liverpool to Leeds Canal.
Yes, Jesus.
On a cold fucking November morning.
Oh god. Do you need some milk for that?
Yes, please, if you don't mind.
I'm not gonna warm it up because I gotta.
It's all right.
Podcast.
It's all right.
Tell me when.
That's all right. I do like it quite milky. Yeah. But I think that's because I'd never been on a date with someone. I'd only probably been on a date with like my ex-girlfriend. I was actually quite avoiding dates for a while. I was just like, I can't be bothered with it. Like once I became single, I just wanted to do whatever I wanted, rather than I wasn't like, oh, let's go on a date with this person. I've never actually been in like the dating scene.
Yeah.
Going out with people. It's never really been my vibe. I just prefer just like chilling out with people.
I am the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Chilling out, it doesn't make me anxious itself, but the thought of just like I'm an amorphous thing with 2 or 3 different people is like not something I usually do. I've gotten more comfortable with it because like that is how you go. That's how you avoid long droughts of not having sex the older you get. Is you kind of just have to accept, okay, this person is like not really interested in me, but they don't have anything better going on.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to accept being there, they got nothing better going on thing for a month or two to like just have something around. Which is maybe terrible or maybe, I don't know.
So you'd rather have like just somebody there?
Yeah, I'd rather be in a relationship or be dating
Yeah.
somebody. Which is completely ironic because I've been like in 2 relationships that have gone longer than a month, and both of those capped out at 2 months.
Yeah.
So I've never had like a serious relationship.
Okay.
But it's always that's always more the thing it's weird. It's like the thing you want. Like you're saying, oh, you're comfortable just hanging out. The guy in the like committed relationship living with his girlfriend. And me, it's like, oh yeah, I would much rather have a relationship. Oh yeah, I've never actually had one, so it's.
Well, I've never been that way inclined to like go, oh yeah, let's go on
Go on a date.
Yeah, like even when I did it with my ex-girlfriend. Like initially we'd go on a date, and I guess all my mates would take the piss out of me because I'd never had a girlfriend. And
Yeah.
I was never really interested. I just liked getting fucked up, or I just like doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm getting a girlfriend, and we was going on a date. And then once I didn't have a girlfriend, it just wasn't. If I'm not interested in somebody, I can't even bother having just like, as you say, somebody there. 'Cause it's just like I just don't see the point of it.
Yeah, I guess for me it was, I always enjoyed them. Like less now, but like when I would actually ask somebody out for coffee or something, I enjoyed it because I enjoyed having the hour or 2-hour conversation and just getting to know somebody's life and
Yeah.
their stories.
Yeah.
So it was actually like, it was not something it was always like third dates, because then it's like like that I hated, because it was like then it starts getting relationship-y, and it's like, yeah. But like first dates are just, you meet somebody and how it goes is how it goes, and yeah, it's, if you don't enjoy it, I don't know. It also like was kind of my superpower in university, because it was, most of the guys weren't asking girls out on proper dates. So like I was a guy who was actually doing that, which gave me an advantage.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those girls, like we had a women's college across the street, so there was a lot more women to guys, and also we had a significant proportion of gay men and just like awkward nerds at my uni. So Like, if you were just like a good-looking guy with an athletic build who's like, "Can I take you out for coffee?"
Yeah.
For my first 2 years, it went really well. My second 2 years, my mental state, I was a fucking psycho, so it did not go well. But my first 2 years, it was fine.
Why were you a psycho?
Oh, dude, I fucking lost it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, in uni? Oh, yeah. I got super weird.
Yeah.
Because I was, well, what happened? I went to school with a bunch of wealthy kids. So I did not grow up wealthy by any means. And I went to a prestigious university with a lot of rich kids. And I had trouble making friends from the get-go. Like, I had a lot of people that thought I was cool, but I had trouble making real connection. And then really the problem was, like, the second half of my second year, I had a few people I had met in my dorm where we were living and stuff. And really all those relationships crumbled in a bad way. And I was like, I was very stressed and not handling the stress of school well. These relationships like ended up deteriorating, and then like that just soured it for the rest of uni. And then a lot of my relationships back home in the States deteriorated as well, because I walked across the American South after that year.
Okay.
And when I got back from that walk, I went like for a couple months. I walked 1,000 miles, and then I got back, and my relationships in the States, they had been deteriorating, but that was a low point in Kansas. I mean, so it was just like, because I was going to school in New York, so it was just like all the relationships I had in my life had really broken up.
Yeah.
And I also like ended up living in this really shitty apartment up north of Harlem, and I was drinking a lot. I was not going to class.
Yeah.
So not the kind of guy, not the kind of guy you're like, oh yeah, this guy's interested in me. I trust him not to murder me.
So what? when you say you went psycho, was it what you were depressed or?
I just got really. I don't even know if resentful is the right word. I just got really. What's the right word? Mistrustful is a close word. Like, I was very disappointed because I really put a lot of faith and trust in the people I care about, and I try to, be honest, especially with people that are like actually my friends. And it was really this point where just like I didn't feel like I lost trust for everyone. Mm-hmm. Like I just thought everyone had fucked me over and like used me basically. So there was just no trust, and it made me doubt the goodness of anything. Mm-hmm. Like I just didn't see, and I had also at that point, like intellectually I had grown up very religious, and like during the same period, I had intellectually come to the realization, I wouldn't even call it decision, that like Catholicism is not real, and so it was like I lost my faith and my friends, and like school was hard, and it's just like it made me really doubt like whether there was anything to believe in.
Okay.
And then I was reading like Kafka. So I was like also dealing with super heavy like ideas like intellectually. So like I was reading a lot of Dostoevsky, a lot of Kafka, just a lot of shit that's like we are creatures dangling by a string above the never-ending void from which it comes all things. And it's like
exactly, this is what I'm thinking.
And that's just how life felt. It felt like we are a speck in a void, and it's everything comes out of this void, and then to this void it returns. And it was just like I had a very low self-image of myself too. Like I was actually like a fit, attractive male. Okay. But like looking back, I'm like, oh fuck, I was like a good-looking dude. But like I saw myself as fucking hideous. Like I saw myself as not physically appealing. Okay. So like there was just a lot. There was a lot of.
So what got you out of that mindset?
Oh, I graduated uni, and then I quit drinking. Like I had a job after uni. Things just calmed down. Like I got a little bit older, so because I was I had a rich emotional life as a teenager. Like I was like, because I was like writing all the time, and and also like the writing was not going well too. I think I just got a little older. Like time passed. I graduated uni. I got a proper job. I lost some weight. Then I quit drinking so much. But probably, like, I don't want to accredit it to losing weight or quitting drinking, because those are things I did because I got healthier. Even though as a result I got even more healthy mentally because of those decisions. But I think it was really just the passing of time, being a little bit older, and being out of that environment.
Yeah.
But even like my last semester in that environment, I'm not going to harp on this for too long, but
That's all right.
yeah. Even my last semester in that environment was much better than the previous ones, just because like when you're young, like the stakes of one night feels very high. Like, oh, we're going out. It's so big. Yeah. Or it's like, oh, this is my 19. I'm 19. And then like, I just got to the point where it's like, you know what? Shit just is not that important. Like this person is not that important. My baseball team won the World Series. Let's just fucking like, baseball, American baseball. I was just like, what the fuck am I getting so worked up about? Like some of these people are cool. Some of them have been dicks. Fuck them. Like I'm graduating. Like I just mellowed out a lot because I was a lot more resigned to, not taking everything like, my bosom friend has betrayed me. Not like this.
I understand. I'd say that thought process of realizing not everything's a huge deal was that showed itself to me with stopping drinking, because when I'd stopped drinking, it was like, yeah, but when you go to Dublin, you've got to drink when you go to Dublin. You can't go there and not drink. And then it was like, once I did that, it was like, once it gets to the football tournaments, the Euros, you can't not drink there. And it was like, yeah, I can.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
It was like, it's not that big of a deal. Well, I
Right.
think it felt like other people made it like a big deal. And then that I would start to think, oh yeah, maybe it is. But probably my own critical thought was realizing that, well, this is what I want to do now. I'm not interested in fucking going on some shit night out. And I was thinking about this the other day. It's good when you're 18, 19, 20, 21. And then I guess when I got old, when I was younger, I never thought that, yeah, when I'm older, I want to be going to nightclubs all the time and like going to bars. It's what I didn't see my life playing out that way. I think it's good in that period from like 18 to 21. I think we were saying talking the other day about how people have moved here from America to kind of like continue that party lifestyle.
Definitely.
Yeah. Do you know people from America? Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, girls come here, honestly. It's like people come here. Let me run down the most common reasons that Americans come here. Girls come here because they like fucking foreign guys. Like, honestly, they're like, oh, I'm living my new life in Europe. And then you get to know them, and it's like, oh, why are 3/4 of the guys you fucked in America, why were they foreign exchange students? Like, oh, you just really have a thing for foreign guys, which is fine. But it's like, I honestly think that's driving some portion of the residents here. The other one is just like, hey, mommy and daddy supported me, or like I came from a very supportive household, or things were very easy for me. And then I had a 2 or 3 year stretch where I moved away from home and I got really anxious and depressed, and I just had to run away. I had to run away from my problems, and that's a lot of it. And like I'm running away from my problems, and so I'm just going to party and drink. And being an American and a female, you're just like, people love me and they want to party with me, and they get stuck into that. That's the other half of it. I mean, guys too. But I would say, like, for guys that are still here, a lot of them, that's maybe more girls. Guys, some of them are romantics. Like, I'm an artist. I want to be in Europe. And some of them, I think a lot of it is they think if they move abroad, that it's going to be easier to fuck. Like, they think it's just going to be easier. So I think that's also part of it.
Yeah.
I would say not even fuck, but it's like, I met a lot of guys who are really awkward from the States, who like, oh, you were the guy people bullied.
Yeah.
But like you come here, and because you are a native speaker of English and you're an American, like some portion of the population just really wants to get to know you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also think that when you move somewhere, especially to like a capital city, I think you can find new confidence in yourself because it's like, oh my God, it's new, and people change when they go to these different countries and they move out from the home place. But I as you'd say, I know the people from my old school, high school, probably weren't sociable, and then they've gone to uni and they've like completely changed. I mean, I see that. Even having an English accent and walking around Prague, I get noticeably more attention from people than I would back at home, because it's just at home it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas he's like, oh, he's from England. This is interesting. Like, I was in Medium a few weeks ago, and there was these 5 American girls, and they heard the British accent, and they were like, whoa.
Also, American girls have a weird thing about British accents. Like, they fucking love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They think people in America, I even thought this, we all think the British of the Europeans are the most refined and the most like not professional, but like, I don't know, chivalrous. And then you come to the Europe and you realize that like the UK, no offense, is like the Walmart of Europe. Like it might be the most trashy part of Central and Western Europe.
Yeah.
Which I kind of enjoy it because it's fun hanging out with people from the UK because it's, oh, you guys are just Americans at heart. Like,
I'd probably say, as like tourists, most people just go to like Spain and France in the UK. Have you ever heard of Benidorm? Have you ever heard of Benidorm in Spain? So everyone says that's Blackpool in the sun. So Blackpool is like a northwest town where it's like cheap beer. They've got
in Spain.
No, this is in England.
Oh, okay.
But they compare Benidorm, which is in Spain, to Blackpool, and it's just
Okay.
like, I've been there, and it just feels like you're on a night out with loads of English people, 'cause that's where just everyone goes, and everyone just gets fucking smashed all day, and yeah, it's just, people probably have an idea of America being like, oh, it's the land of the free and all that shit, but when you actually go, it's probably completely different.
You know, the thing I think Europeans look at America the way Americans look at Europe. Like, it's this vast land with so many different possible things to see, and there's just so many interesting things you can do and experience. And I mean, America is this is one thing, like, America is very beautiful. We do have, like, it's one country and it has all these different landscapes. And, like, the Rocky Mountains are real fucking mountains. And the Southwest Desert is real desert. And, like, up in Montana and Wyoming, that's real, and Canada probably more, so it's real wilderness. Yeah. So there is an argument to be made about the natural beauties of America. I think that I think we fascinate Europeans because we are just, like, we don't give a fuck. And I think Europeans actually have a decent idea of what Americans are like, because no one's like, oh, Americans are so, like, I don't know, like, fancy and refined. They're like, no, Americans are a bunch of, like, country hillbillies who just, like, fight each other all the time. It's like, it's kind of spot on. So yeah, I mean, people give New York way too much mental energy from here. They're like, oh, I gotta see New York, and it's like, when you go to New York, you're not even going to see the real New York. And then they don't see the rest of the states. Because, like, if I could advise anyone to visit the states, it would be like, go to New Orleans, go to Chicago. Like, the best, like, New York is great, but there's other places you should see. Mm-hmm. That's my one qualm with it, is I don't think they visit the places really worth visiting. And they don't get a good idea of what the country is actually like. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you find the work-life balance different compared to working in the Czech Republic compared to America?
I mean, we work more. I would say it's not necessarily that in the States that, because the UK kind of has a similar work culture where, like, you gotta work.
Yes, but you have, for example, holiday entitlement in America is 10 days paid time off, would you say?
Depends on your job. I'd say most places, if you've been there, 3 weeks a year.
3 weeks a year?
Yeah.
So in England, you're going to get 33 days off per year. And it's mostly the same around Europe. And you have a lot of benefits.
holidays. Yeah.
Yeah.
I say the thing that's different in work culture is not the thing that's really been striking to me is not how much you're expected to work, but how little working is tied to the way people look at you. Like if I'm in Europe and I'm not working or I'm only working part-time, people don't respect me any less. And like, but in America, like if you're not working or if you're working part-time, your parents are like, everybody's parents are like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, how have you lost your way? You demented. Oh yeah, and all your community is like, why aren't you working? Why aren't you working? So it's less. It really is less workplace culture and more just like everybody should have a full-time job. And if you don't have a full-time job right now, then like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get your life back together. Yeah, it's really like that. It's terrible. You can't just take, like I do, and people think I'm crazy to like take 2 months to work on a different project and just live off my savings.
Yeah.
And like get a job after. They're like, what the fuck is wrong? Like it's literally like something is wrong with me for doing that. It's insane, right? Because in here it's like no one gives a fuck. Or like, oh, my 40-hour a week job was too stressful, so let me do something else for a little bit. Like completely different way of thinking about being employed. I don't want to make this stretch too long. Is there anything you wanted to bring up? Any topics you want to talk about?
No, I was just going with the flow, seeing what you would say.
Why don't you tell everyone, like, where can they follow your music? Where can they see your podcast?
Well,
are there any socials for people to follow?
There's no music released at the moment. Maybe there will be
by the time this comes out.
Maybe.
Okay.
So I've only recently, all my interface and recording stuff was back in England. So
yeah,
I got every kind more stuff delivered to England and brought it back when I went back. So that's what I've been doing at the moment, getting into recording. But the podcast, I'll just promote the podcast. It is the Sober Podcast, and it's available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's actually a Just Giving page. Look at me now asking for money.
That's fine. Do it.
It's for Mind. It's a mental health charity in the UK because a family member had a issue with psychosis, which is like I think it's part of schizophrenia.
Yeah.
But it's more schizophrenic episodes, and it's a process of going in and out of them schizophrenic episodes, which has led to me wanting to raise money for mental health. So even though I was doing being teetotal before, I thought I might as well try raise some money for it as well. Yeah. And hopefully people can listen to the podcast and find some benefit out of it as well.